Today's project is cleaning the boot area, otherwise known as the trunk area, depending on where you are from. I myself am from the UK, although I reside in Southern California, which is why it's sunny outside. One of the benefits of doing work in the winter here, or the so-called winter, is stuff can dry out and it's not constantly raining, which is good. So I'm a big fan of POR-15. There's a lot of stuff on the internet about POR-15 products, paint over rust. I've been using it for the last few years. It does involve a multi-step process, which can be a little awkward. The first step is to use this cleaner degreaser. The cleaner degreaser is an industrial strength cleaner to prepare the metal for the work you're going to perform on it later. After the cleaner degreaser, we apply metal prep, which basically adds an etch to the metal to prepare it for painting. So I've been doing this throughout my restoration, cleaner degreaser, then metal prep, and then whatever I'm going to put on top. Typically it's the POR-15 itself, paint over rust directly onto the metal. As you can maybe see from behind me and from previous videos, my car is a little rusty. My welding skills are amateur at best, and so the option of replacing every panel with a rust-free item isn't really within my capabilities or indeed my budget. So I've replaced metal where I can with welding, but elsewhere I'm using POR-15 to treat the metal and hopefully keep it at bay. And as I said, we're in Southern California here, so I'm not thinking that rust is going to be a huge issue. We could just stop it in its tracks. So in the boot area, as I'll show you in a minute, there is a fair amount of rust near the front lip. So let's just take a look. So I've used a combination of wire brushes and a polycarbide disc in an angle grinder to clean the metal as much as possible. I've decided not to strip the entire boot interior, the original kind of underseal or anti-drumming material that's been there since the car was made. I'm going to leave most of that in place. It's not flaking, it's just a little dirty. I'm going to use POR-15 bed liner to treat certain parts of the metal where the anti-drumming material is no longer there. But that's basically it. Now, this front area of the boot, this little tray in front of the fuel tank, is probably the most rusty. There is one area in the corner there where you can see some holes. I'm going to use mesh with POR-15 to treat those. I guess I could weld in a panel, but as I said, there's a kind of limit to how much welding I want to do or indeed can do. Now, one of the things about POR-15 is that you need to rinse off with water after each step, after the cleaner degreaser and after the metal prep. I do that with a hose and a sponge, and then after that I use a heat gun to dry the metal. Okay, so the cleaner degreaser has now been rinsed off and the car has been dried, and the next step is metal prep. This is metal prep. Basically, you've got to keep the metal wet for about 20 minutes. So I'll just keep brushing it on, and then once it's finished, I'll be able to rinse this off with water as well and again dry the car. I'm not going to treat all of the areas, just the bare metal areas. And once again, the purpose of the metal prep is to etch the metal ready for painting. The boot has now been prepared with metal prep, and that's been rinsed down, and we're ready to mask off and start some painting. As you can see, the original factory finish was not exactly, well, exact. Looks like the anti-drumming material was sprayed on, and then the wheel arches, the inside wheel arches, were painted black with a fairly inexact line and a few splotches of black paint around back in 1959. So I'm going to use 2 coats of POR-15 rust preventative paint in silver. The silver is particularly good for a pitted surface because it does contain some metal particles. And when that is finger dry, in other words there's a slight drag when you touch it but the paint doesn't come off in your finger, then it's ready for the next coat, which in this case is 2 coats of bed liner. And then once the bed liner is on, I can spray colour. So I'm pleased with the way it's come out. This is a combination of 2 coats of POR-15 silver, 2 coats of bed liner, and then a couple of coats of top colour. It looks pretty good.